After December 7th of 1941, there was a wave of men who were rushing to recruitment stations all around the United States to volunteer for service in the Army, Navy, and the Marines. And of course, at that time, rail travel was the big thing. So you had thousands upon thousands of men all over the country traveling on tracks just like the one behind me and disembarking at rail stations like this one right here in Toccoa, Georgia. This, if you are a fan of Band of Brothers and the Story of Easy Company, this right here is the exact place where the men of who would be in Easy Company disembarked and started their training for World War II. So this right here is the original train station here in Toccoa, Georgia, that Dick Winters and Bill Garnier and all the guys from Easy Company would have disembarked at to start their training to become parachute infantry. Now once they were off of the train, they would have had to have walked to the camp. We're going to go to that in another video. Well, today this train station has been transformed into the Currahee Military Museum, which you can see right there. So we're going to go inside and take a look at what they have here. Super, super excited. All right, we just got inside, and the section that I am in right now, this is the original train depot here at Toccoa. And they've used this room to kind of show a little bit of the local history of Toccoa. So here you can see, some Native American pottery. And then they just have tons of cool old artifacts that kind of bring you, into the period and give you a feel for what life at different stages in the city of Toccoa would have been like. Yeah, so we got a little butter mold right there. Things that people don't even think about today. This stuff is always fascinating to me. Here's a hand-whittled baby cradle from around 1870. Very interesting. But yeah, this is the original depot. So the men of Easy Company and all of the airborne recruits, this is possibly a room that they would have staged up in before they headed out to Camp Toccoa. Okay, so I'm exiting the original depot here at Toccoa and moving into the military museum portion. Now, before I get into the military museum, there's a local, well-known figure from Toccoa by the name of R.G. Letourneau. And even though he didn't fight in World War II, he definitely played a role. I guess he had a plant that manufactured heavy equipment and was very instrumental in the war effort here at home. Had a lot of people that worked for him and provided different pieces of heavy equipment that was used overseas. So everybody was involved in some way. Okay, now I'm into the military museum portion of this facility right now. And anytime I go to a museum or a historic site or someplace like that, there's usually something that I see that is kind of like a wow moment. Well, whenever you walk into the military museum here, the wow moment is this building right here. This is such a crazy story to me. So whenever the men of Easy Company went overseas, they staged up in England at a place called Airborne. Well, they needed a place to stay, so in some of the local stables, they took the horses, moved them to London, converted the stables to barracks, and put the men of Easy Company in there. And they also housed the men of Able Company at another point. But what is insane is that this is one of the stables that they stayed in. They had to remove them for some reason. They were deconstructed, and one of them was brought right here to Toccoa, Georgia. That is phenomenal. Now, they've dedicated a room to each of the infantry regiments that trained at Toccoa. So this is the one for the 506th. And look at this. This is pretty cool. So whenever they deconstructed these barracks, they found little things tucked and hidden away and little holes and stuff like that. Well, these are some of the items that they found whenever they were disassembling this stable. So there's like an old shoe, some candy bar wrappers, shoe polish, razor blades. I mean, all kinds of neat things. How interesting. Okay, now keeping in mind that these stables were on a farm, I guess you have to deal with some pest problems. Here are a couple of like mummified rodents that were found in the walls whenever they deconstructed and disassembled this stable. Interesting. Here are some pictures showing the disassembly process in England to get this set of stables here to Toccoa. I absolutely love this story. And then reassembled right here. Wow. Here are a few other Camp Toccoa items. Some sweetheart pillows, so troops could get these and send them to their girlfriend or their mother or sister, whatever. Got a few foreign language books, a little pennant, and then a picture of the man himself with his signature, Dick Winters. There it says, "Hang tough." Outstanding example of a man who knew about leadership. This is Private First Class Joe Eugene Mann, and he trained here at Toccoa, was in the 506th, and in Holland on the 18th of September 1944, he was wounded 4 times trying to take out an enemy position, and the next morning he insisted on returning to his forward position even though he was injured and all bandaged up. Germans launched a counterattack, and a grenade was thrown. He yelled "grenade," threw his body over it, and it exploded and killed him, but saved the men around him. For that action, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. And they have his Medal of Honor, his Bronze Star, his Purple Hearts, and all of his other insignia on display right here. That is really amazing. And they also have his Medal of Honor flag. I didn't even know that this was a thing, so I'll have to look up more about that. That is really quite amazing. Here's something that they've done at this museum that I really, really like. They have this display showing all of the military awards that the men who trained here at Toccoa would have been given for their time in the service. So, for example, Here are the medals and awards for Skip Muck, and also, right next to him, Alex Pincala. These two gentlemen were in a foxhole together in Bastogne whenever they took a direct hit from a German artillery shell. What we're entering into right now is the room, or the stall, I guess you could say, I don't know, for the 511th. And this is the only unit that trained here at Toccoa that went to the Pacific Theater. Had several jumps. Oh wow, this is really cool. So this is a souvenir item. Looks to be an Arasaka, a Japanese Arasaka, in the original box that it was shipped over in. Huh. That is really cool. The 11th Airborne participated in something that's, it should be more well known than what it is. It's called the Los Baños Raid. So check that out. But yeah, all kinds of different items in here from the 11th Airborne. A lot of Japanese souvenir items. Very, very interesting. This is in another one of the stalls, and this is kind of cool. So World War II, a lot of rationing that was going on at the time. So you kind of had to make do with what you had. So if you got married, well, it might be resourceful to make a wedding dress out of your parachute. That's really cool. Here we have a couple of good old Thompson submachine guns here, and also, my goodness, guns, guns, guns. Always enjoy looking at a good gun display. Okay, now this is just insanely cool to me. This is some original documentation, and you can see the date says the 12th of September 1944. So this would have been right before Market Garden. It says restricted Company E, subject officers and EM, enlisted men in the company, and how they will be going to Battalion S2. So the following is a list of the EM and officers going by parachute. So this must be kind of like a muster looking at who was going to be going on the Market Garden jump. Now, if you've watched the series, there's some familiar names here. Of course, there's Dick Winters, Buck Compton, Harry Welsh, Carwood Lipton, right there, Sergeant Don Malarkey, Bull Randleman, and then it tells, okay, wounded in action. So if you saw that episode with Market Garden, Randleman got wounded there. Wow. That is really cool to me, to see this original documentation. Huh. Here's a letter from one of the paratroopers in the 506th Easy Company. The date on it is August 28th, 1944. So this is in between Normandy and Market Garden. And it's a letter from Alex Pincala. You can see there's some other pictures and some little souvenir pieces of currency that he had. Hey, here's Floyd Talbert and Don Malarkey. And here's Floyd Talbert standing on Hitler's car. Now, if you've watched the series Band of Brothers, David Webster is a man that figures prominently in the series. And this is a souvenir Nazi flag that he brought back from about 4 miles outside of Berchtesgaden. Man, I cannot believe all of the things that they have here. Here we're looking at a collection of M1 carbines, which are just beautiful. But this one right here might look a little funny, and I don't know, some people might not be familiar with it. This is a paratrooper carbine. So it had a folding stock that would be a little bit more compact for the paratroopers whenever they jumped. And I would love to have one. U.S. soldiers in World War II were always on the hunt for souvenirs. And here's quite the souvenir. This is a brick from Hitler's Burghof in Berchtesgaden that was brought back by Don Traub. And here is a chunk of granite that came from the eagle's nest. Wow. I have to say, as I'm making my way down this stable, like every time I go into a room, I'm just shocked at everything that I see and all of the different historical artifacts that they have here. But there's something down here in this last stall that, I don't know, it might be the coolest thing that I've seen here, at least to me. This final room is showing what the living quarters would have looked like for the men of Easy Company or Able Company that were in these stables. So you see, they got a little heating stove. They would usually put 4 to 6 men in these, as I understand. But here is the coolest thing in this room. So if you look at this, let me get it focused. This is a 3-page letter that was recovered from the walls of this stable whenever they disassembled it. And it starts off, hello dear son. It's dated 1944, maybe August 1944. It says, hello dear son. Will write you as I haven't heard from you in so long. I sure hope you are all right. And then, the letter goes on. And the address is to one Denver Randleman. So this is a letter that was sent to Bull Randleman, and he was in this room, apparently, and then stuffed the letter in the wall, and then I guess forgot about it. And then it was recovered all these years later. That is truly awesome. All right, well, I realize that I'm going to have a little bit of a bias going on here, but that was legitimately one of the coolest museums that I have ever been in. If you are a fan of Band of Brothers or the story of Easy Company, I don't know, I've been to quite a few places. I don't think you're going to go to another place that has as many original artifacts as what this place does, and they have so much more in there than what I showed. Just tons and tons of cool historical items. That was certainly worth the stop. So whether you're a fan of Easy Company or not, or you're into the story, I mean, if you're a fan of history, definitely make this a destination place. So glad that we stopped here today. Did somebody lose a boot? I kind of wonder what happened to this person. They're walking around with just one boot on. If you happen to have lost a boot in North Georgia off of Highway 76, this is on the north side of the highway. We're gonna just leave it right here. So hopefully this helps.